Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are reading out of A Course in Miracles, complete and annotated edition, part 1 of the workbook for students, lesson 186. Salvation of the world depends on me. Here is the statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Here is a thought of true humility which holds no function as your own, but that which has been given you. It offers your acceptance of a part assigned to you without insisting on another role. It does not judge your proper role, but it acknowledges the will of God done on earth as well as heaven. Footnote 376, Matthew 6:10. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Today's idea acknowledges the will of God is done on earth because it sees you as the instrument through which this will occur. It unites all wills on earth in heaven's plan to save the world, restoring it to heaven's peace. Let us not fight our function. We did not establish it. It is not our idea. The means are given us by which it will be perfectly accomplished. All that we are asked to do is to accept our part in genuine humility and not deny with self-deceiving arrogance that we are worthy. What is given us to do, we have the strength to do. Our minds are suited perfectly to take the part assigned to us by one who knows us well. Today's idea may seem quite sobering until you see its meaning. All it says is that your Father still remembers you and offers you the perfect trust He holds in who you are, His Son. And you who are His Son, I was like, that didn't make sense. All it says is that your Father still remembers you and offers you the perfect trust He holds in you who are His Son. It does not ask that you be different in any way from what you are. What could humility request but this? And what could arrogance deny but this? Today we will not shrink from our assignment on the spacious grounds that modesty is outraged. It is pride that would deny the call of God Himself. All false humility we lay aside today, that we may listen to God's voice reveal to us what He would have us do. We will not doubt our adequacy for the function He will offer us. We will be certain only that He knows our strengths, our wisdom, and our holiness. 377. The implication is that He chooses our function based on our strengths, our wisdom, and our holiness. Therefore, because He knows these so well, we can be sure of our adequacy for the function He will offer us. And if He deems us worthy, so we are. It is but arrogance that judges otherwise. There is one way, and only one, to be released from the imprisonment your plan to prove the false is true has brought to you. Accept the plan you did not make instead. Judge not your value to it. If God's voice assures you that salvation needs your part, and that the whole depends on you, be sure that it is so. The arrogant must cling to words, afraid to go beyond them, to experience which might affront their stance. Footnote 378. The arrogant cling specifically to the words that say they are not strong enough, wise enough, or holy enough to fulfill the function assigned to them by God, by God's voice, and that they are not worthy enough to have the salvation of the world depend on them. Yet are the humble free to hear the voice which tells them, what they are and what to do. Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. It is this image which quails and retreats in terror. Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. It is this image which quails and retreats in terror as the voice for God assures you that you have the strength, the wisdom, and the holiness to go beyond all images. You are not weak, as is the image of yourself. You are not ignorant and helpless. Sin cannot tarnish the truth in you, and misery can come not near the holy home of God. All this the voice for God relates to you, and as he speaks, the image trembles and seeks to attack the threat it does not know, sensing its basis crumble. Let it go. Salvation of the world depends on you, and not upon this little pile of dust. What can it tell the Holy Son of God? Why need he be concerned with it at all? And so we find our peace. We will accept the function God has given us, for all illusions rest upon the weird belief that we can make another for ourselves. Our self-made roles are shifting, and they seem to change from mourner to ecstatic bliss of loved and loving. We can laugh or weep and greet the day with welcome or with tears. Our very being seems to change as we experience 1,000 shifts in mood, and our emotions raise us high indeed or dash us to the ground in hopelessness. Is this the Son of God? Could he create such instability and call it Son? He who is changeless shares his attributes with his creation. All the images his Son appears to make have no effect on what he is. They blow across his mind like windswept leaves that form a pattering an instant, break apart to group again, and scamper off, or like mirages seen above a desert, rising from the dust. These unsubstantial images will go and leave your mind unclouded and serene when you accept the function given you. The images you make give rise to but conflicting goals, impermanent and vague, uncertain and ambiguous. Who could be constant in his efforts or direct his energies in concentrated drive toward goals like these? The functions which the world esteems are so uncertain that they change 10 times an hour at their most secure. What hope of gain can rest on goals like this? In lovely contrast, certain as the sun's return each morning to dispel the night, your truly given function stands out clear and wholly unambiguous. There is no doubt of its validity. It comes from one who knows no error, and his voice is certain of its messages. They will not change nor be in conflict. All of them point to one goal, and one you can attain. Your plan may be impossible, but God's can never fail because he is its source. Do as his voice directs, and if it asks a thing of you that seems impossible, remember who it is that asks, and who would make denial. Then consider this. Which is more likely to be right, the voice that speaks for the Creator of all things, who knows all things exactly as they are, or a distorted image of yourself, confused, bewildered, inconsistent, and unsure of everything? Let not its voice direct you. Hear instead a certain voice which tells you of a function given you by your Creator, who remembers you and urges that you now remember him. His gentle voice is calling from the known to the unknowing. He would comfort you, although he knows no sorrow. 379. He in this paragraph refers to God. He would make a restitution, though he is complete, a gift to you, although he knows that you have everything already. He has thoughts which answer every need his Son perceives, although he knows them not. For love must give, and what is given in its name takes on the form most useful in a world of form. These are the forms which never can deceive because they come from formlessness itself. 380. The implication here is that forms can easily deceive. Because they are separate from the underlying content, they can misrepresent that content. That which has no form, however, cannot deceive, and so the forms that come from formlessness itself never can deceive. Forgiveness is an earthly form of love, which as it is in heaven has no form. Yet what is needed here is given here as it is needed. In this form you can fulfill your function even here, although what love will mean to you when formlessness has been restored to you is greater still. Salvation of the world depends on you who can forgive. Such is your function here. Now we are reading the commentary of Lesson 186, July 5th, Salvation of the World Depends Upon Me. This is by Robert Perry and Alan Watson. The purpose of this lesson is to go past your self-made roles and your doubts about your worth and adequacy, and hear and accept your assigned role in God's plan for salvation. This will unify your scattered energies behind a single goal. So the meditation is the morning and evening, at least 5 minutes, ideally 30 or more. Today's practice consists of listening to the Holy Spirit, asking for Him to tell you what your role in His plan is. This is similar to Lesson 135. So we're going to really listen. We will need to set aside our notions of our roles in life, realizing how shifting they are and how much they scatter your energies. You will need to open your mind to the fact that you have an essential role in the Holy Spirit's plan for the salvation of the world. Don't let your ego tell you that such an idea is arrogant, that you cannot possibly be worthy, that you are not strong enough, wise enough, or holy enough. Banish this arrogant chatter from your mind. Let go of all words. Open your mind and listen in genuine humility. Let the voice for God reveal to you what He would have you do in His plan. Trust the role He has selected for you and that it suits you perfectly, that you can do it because He knows you better than you know yourself. If the role you hear sounds beyond your capabilities, ask yourself, who is more likely to be right, your ego's voice or God's voice? If you hear nothing, keep repeating your question with genuine desire, and keep setting aside the ego's chatter as it intrudes. Know that you are at the very least drawing closer to the day when the answer will be yours. End the practice period by trying to genuinely accept the function given you. If you have received a sense of what it is, try to accept that as your role in life. If you haven't received anything, try to accept your role in advance. And, hourly remembrance, 1 or 2 minutes on the hour as the hour strikes. Reduce if circumstances do not permit. Thank God for His gifts to you in the hour gone by. Then let go of the notions of your role in the coming hour and ask God's voice what role He has selected for you in that hour. Our individual salvation and our happiness depends on our accepting what this lesson teaches. The salvation of the world depends on us. Our function is to save the world, to bring light and joy and peace of God to every mind within our reach, which is a far greater number than we imagine. The lesson is not simply saying that it would be a good idea for us to accept this thought. It is saying that acceptance is imperative to our own personal freedom. There is one way, and only one, to be released from the imprisonment your plan to prove the false is true has brought to you. Accept the plan you did not make instead. The course is often so uncompromising. One way and only one. If we want to experience our own wholeness, if we want to find ourselves, we must accept that salvation of the world depends on us. Why? Because the nature of who we are demands it. If I am an extension of God, and if love which created me is what I am, then how can I possibly accept that fact and not accept that my function is to give myself to the world? Giving is what love does. Let me repeat that. If I am an extension of God, and if love which created me is what I am, then how can I possibly accept that fact and not accept that my function is to give myself to the world? Giving is what love does. To take our practice among the saviors of the world is not arrogance if we are as God created us. It is merely accepting what has been given to us by our Creator. We did not establish our function. It is not our idea. In fact, it is arrogant not to acknowledge this as our function. The self-image we make in arrogance pictures us as weak, ignorant, and helpless. It seems humble, but it is mountainous arrogance masquerading as humility. This self-image thumps its nose at the Creator and says, I am what I make of myself, and not what you created me to be. The last week or so I have frequently been finding myself at loose ends. I seem to drift from one task to another, and to have a great deal of difficulty concentrating on anything. The description in 10:4 seems to describe me exactly. The functions which the world esteems are so uncertain that they change 10 times an hour at their most secure. And as I read this lesson, I recognize that I have been trying to define my function for myself, instead of simply accepting the one God gave me. I have been fighting my function, yet when it is accepted, it is so unambiguous that life simply straightens out, and all the confusion is gone. In lovely contrast, certain as the sun's return each morning to dispel the night, your truly given function stands out clear and wholly unambiguous. So then, let me today stop resisting my function. Let me stop listening to my self-made image, which trembles as God speaks to me of my true function, sensing that the basis of its existence is being cut away. Let me simply let go of my plans for myself and surrender to the plan I did not make, trusting that everything I need to fulfill it has been given me, trusting that I am worthy to be counted among the saviors of the world, trusting that all my needs are answered by God even though He does not see them in whatever form is most useful at the moment. Salvation of the world depends on you who can forgive. Such is your function here. Salvation of the world depends upon me. It reminds me of that quote by Marianne Williamson. I'm just going to look it up and share it with you quickly. So Marianne Williamson, I started reading her in 2003, and that's where I first learned of A Course in Miracles, although I was very intimidated by it and didn't pick it up until it was actually given to me in late 2006. So if you've never read A Return to Love, it's a little simplistic, but it's absolutely, I say simplistic, I don't mean to, Marianne Williamson would say it's simplistic. It was her first book after her experience with A Course in Miracles. But it's not heavy, okay? It's not heavy, but it's a beautiful book, A Return to Love. So I would strongly suggest you read that if you've not. Anyway, this is the quote that came to my mind when I was reading Lesson 186. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated, sorry, my screen went dark. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that's A Return to Love, which is reflections on the principles of A Course in Miracles. And that's one of my favorite quotes. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for joining with me, Lesson 186. Salvation of the world depends on you. I love you. Have a beautiful day.